Yes, I understand what he was saying. It's called being safe. It's a safe answer now because he's saying, one, his GOAT is Michael Jordan, just like most of everybody who was born in the 80s and 90s is Michael Jordan because we seen Michael Jordan. We watched him on TV, right? We watched him. None of us can physically say we played with him. So he's saying that as a fan, this is my GOAT, Michael Jordan. From a kid living in Chicago, he's number one.
The GOAT debate just got messier. And when I say messier, I mean Dwyane Wade just walked into the most radioactive conversation in basketball history and dropped a take so calculated, so politically correct, so maddeningly diplomatic that it set Gills Arena on fire. We're talking about a man who won 3 championships, a finals MVP, and built a Hall of Fame career, and he just gave us the most corporate answer to the greatest question in sports history. Here's what went down. Dwyane Wade recently made a statement distinguishing between the greatest player he's watched versus the greatest player he's seen. Michael Jordan, that's who he watched. LeBron James, that's who he saw, up close, in practice, in the trenches, winning championships together. And look, on the surface, it sounds reasonable. It sounds thoughtful. It sounds like the kind of answer that keeps everybody happy at Thanksgiving dinner. But Gilbert Arenas wasn't having it, not even a little bit. And honestly, the reaction on Gills Arena might be even more entertaining than Wade's original statement.
Because last time I said some shit, you called me cussing me the fuck out about Steph Curry when they said you and Steph Curry. Remember that?
Yeah, I was offended.
Yeah, so it was safe. But motherfucker, remember that. I had to be safe. Remember that. Because I gotta go back there.
But but you didn't put us in two. He gave him his number one and his number one.
Let's break this down piece by piece because this isn't just about basketball. This is about loyalty, legacy, generational divides, and the impossible task of comparing gods from different eras. Dwyane Wade's distinction is simple. Jordan is the greatest player he watched growing up as a fan. LeBron is the greatest player he experienced as a teammate and competitor. Watched versus seen. TV versus real life. Nostalgia versus proximity. It's the kind of nuanced take that sounds smart in a press conference but immediately gets roasted on a podcast. And roasted he was. Rashad McCants actually defended Wade's position, explaining that there's a fundamental difference between watching someone on television and going through battles with them day in and day out. When you're in the gym with someone, when you're winning championships together, when you're seeing the work behind the scenes, that changes everything. McCants compared it to his own experience with Kobe Bryant versus Michael Jordan. He watched MJ, but he played against Kobe. He felt Kobe. That proximity creates a different kind of respect, a different kind of understanding. But here's where it gets spicy.
What he's saying, I mean, that's how I feel when they talk about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Like, I watched, but I got to see Kobe Bryant. Like, I got to play against Kobe Bryant. I got to be on the same court. So it's just a different feeling.
Sasha Pavlovic, rocking a Birmingham Barons jersey, mind you, Michael Jordan's minor league baseball team absolutely demolished Wade's logic with one simple word: no. Not I disagree, not I see your point, but just flat out no. And then he went off. The man questioned whether they should have brought Stevie Wonder on the show to make the same distinction. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. The energy shifted immediately. Pavlovic didn't want to hear about watching versus seeing. He wanted Wade to just pick a side like everyone else has to pick a side. Your childhood hero or your best friend. Your nostalgia or your reality. Stop dancing around it with semantics.
What the fuck is D-Wade talking about? Should have had Stevie Wonder up there talking about, man, I can see it, but I can watch it too. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. See it, believe it, watch it, talk, man, the fuck you talking about, my nigga?
Nick Young, aka Swaggy P, tried to explain the concept using a truly bizarre analogy involving watching someone on TV versus seeing them in person, which somehow devolved into a conversation about his kids having play dates with Wade's kids. The whole thing was chaotic, confusing, and somehow perfectly captured the absurdity of trying to make definitive statements about the GOAT debate. But then Young said something interesting. He admitted that watching LeBron do things that none of his favorite players ever did makes it hard not to call him the GOAT. That's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. LeBron's longevity and sustained excellence are unprecedented. 20-plus years at an elite level, still putting up all-star numbers in year 22, still making plays that make you stand up from your couch, still dominating in an era where the game has never been faster or more athletic, and that's the real conversation here.
But just watching LeBron is and what he does is it's hard not to put him as the GOAT because he's still doing shit that none of our players, my favorite players, done. And
can we separate feelings from facts? Can we divorce childhood nostalgia from objective greatness? Should we even try? But the most illuminating take came from Gilbert Arenas himself, who completely dissected what Wade was actually doing. And Gills read, this was a safe answer, a politically correct answer, an answer designed to keep everyone happy and nobody mad. Gil broke it down perfectly. Wade is saying Jordan is his GOAT as a fan who grew up in Chicago watching him on TV. LeBron is his GOAT as a competitor, someone he practiced with, won championships with, lost with, grinded with. It's not that he's picking both. He's creating two separate categories so he doesn't have to pick at all. And Gil called it exactly what it is. Safe.
He's number one. As a basketball player playing in the NBA, competing with someone, he is my competition GOAT. Like, as an NBA player who I played with, seen with my own eyes, practiced with, he's my GOAT. So he's basically saying, I don't want to compare the two.
Gil explained that unless you actually played against both Jordan and LeBron in their primes, you really don't have the credentials to make a definitive comparison. He pointed to guys like Kevin Garnett and Shaquille O'Neal, players who battled all the legends, as the only ones who can truly speak to this. Everyone else is just working with incomplete information. We watched one, we played with the other, we're comparing apples to orange-flavored memories. But here's what makes Gil's analysis so sharp. He understands why Wade did this. Wade is from Chicago. Jordan is basically a deity in Chicago. But Wade also spent years as LeBron's running mate in Miami, winning 2 championships together, building a brotherhood. How do you pick between your childhood idol and your brother-in-arms? You don't. You create a semantic distinction that lets both exist in your personal pantheon. It's the basketball equivalent of saying, this is my favorite girlfriend, this is my favorite wife. You're not comparing them, you're categorizing them, and everyone gets to keep their feelings intact. This whole debate exposes something deeper about how we consume sports and build legends. The players who grew up in the 80s and 90s will almost universally say Jordan because that's who they felt. That's who made them want to play basketball. That's who they tried to be on the playground. The emotional connection to Jordan for that generation is unbreakable. But the current generation, watching LeBron do things that no 39-year-old has any business doing, they're building their own emotional connections. They're watching their own legend. And 30 years from now, they'll be the old heads telling young kids that LeBron was better than whoever the next generational talent is. This isn't really about statistics, though the stats do matter. It's not really about championships, though those count. It's about the impossible task of comparing players from different eras with different rules, different play styles, different levels of competition, and different contexts. Jordan never faced zone defenses. LeBron never played in an era where you could hand check. Jordan had a shorter three-point line for 3 seasons. LeBron plays in an era of load management and player empowerment. How do you compare them? How do you weigh 6 finals MVPs against 8 straight finals appearances? How do you measure the flu game against the 2016 finals comeback? You can't. Not really. Not objectively. So, maybe Dwyane Wade's answer isn't as cowardly as it seems. Maybe it's just honest. Maybe the real answer to the GOAT debate is that there is no answer, just different perspectives based on what you value and what you experienced. If you value peak performance and finals dominance, you say Jordan. If you value longevity and all-around excellence, you say LeBron. If you value scoring artistry, maybe you say Kobe. If you value pure dominance, maybe you say Shaq. If you value winning above all else, maybe you say Bill Russell's 11 rings. The debate will never end because it's not designed to end. It's designed to keep us arguing in barbershops and on podcasts and on YouTube comment sections until the heat death of the universe. But here's what we know for sure. Dwyane Wade tried to play it safe, and Gilbert Arenas absolutely cooked him for it. Gills Arena showed no mercy, tearing apart the logic, questioning the motive, and ultimately revealing that even the most diplomatic answer in sports won't save you from getting destroyed on a podcast. Wade wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to honor his childhood hero and his teammate. He wanted to respect both legacies without diminishing either. Noble? Sure. Satisfying? Absolutely not. At the end of the day, maybe the problem isn't Dwyane Wade's answer. Maybe the problem is that we keep asking the question like there's a definitive answer. Maybe the GOAT debate is less about finding truth and more about defending our own experiences, our own childhoods, our own basketball journeys. Jordan is the GOAT to the people who watched him make basketball appointment television in the 90s. LeBron is the GOAT to the people who watched him carry franchises for 2 decades straight. And 20 years from now, some other player will be in the conversation and we'll all be the old heads saying, but you didn't see LeBron or you didn't watch Jordan. Dwyane Wade tried to bridge that gap. He tried to acknowledge both perspectives. He tried to be diplomatic in a conversation that demands you choose a side. And for that, he got absolutely roasted because in the GOAT debate, there's no room for diplomacy. There's no room for nuance. There's no room for both can be true. You pick one, you defend it, and you live with the consequences. Dwyane Wade didn't want to pick, and that might be the most honest answer of all, even if it's also the most frustrating. The debate rages on. The takes keep coming, and somewhere, Michael Jordan and LeBron are probably just laughing at all of us for arguing about something that will never, ever be settled. Welcome to basketball, where legends are made, legacies are debated, and nobody ever agrees on anything.